But let's go to an extraordinary situation that's unfolding right now, tonight in Canada. Overnight, the Canadian government expelled a top Indian diplomat as it investigates what the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called credible allegations that India's government may have had links to the assassination of a Sikh activist on Canadian soil. Now, in retaliation, the Indian government has expelled a Canadian diplomat after rejecting Trudeau's allegations. Listen to Trudeau here.
Any involvement of a foreign government in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is an unacceptable violation of our sovereignty.
Meanwhile, the Sikh leader said Australia is the next target for Indian agents. Joining me now for the latest international panel, of course, Kosha Garda, Sky News contributor, former Labor MP Michael Danby. Well, let's start with that if I can, Kosha. A friend of mine who I spoke to on Friday was at the G20 and said that there was a palpable tension between Trudeau and Modi that predates this particular incident. But of course, Trudeau has been on the record very supportive of the Sikh separatist movement. And I think probably Modi thinks he's a bit of a flake, as we all do. So I think all of that's permeated the relationship. But it's really gone up a notch now, hasn't it?
Certainly has gone up a notch. It's a developing story, so obviously we don't know all the details, but I think it's remarkable in terms of how unprecedented it is of what's happening at the official governmental level between Canada and India. And I think it also illustrates sort of some of the side effects or complexities that come with immigration. That's really what you're seeing here, where there's this group that has a certain position in India. This individual was designated a terrorist or sympathetic to the separatist movement. That's not popular among Indians, and it's something Modi has been cracking down on. He happens to be a Canadian citizen. There's a big diaspora of the Sikh community in Canada, the biggest one outside of their home country. And so you see, that concept of sovereignty or the fact that somebody was assassinated, allegedly assassinated, who's a Canadian citizen, spilling out. Those two things collide, and I think it's a very complicated picture. And you're just going to see it continue as also the geopolitical climate shifts. India is more and more important. There's more and more Indians in Canada, and it doesn't look like Trudeau really has a plan of how he's managing this escalation.
I also say politically too, and we're seeing it play out here in Australia, as you get these migrant groupings still maintain their language and cultural links, particularly back with their home country, and so their political troubles are coming out here as well. You're finding political parties, and Justin Trudeau has been brilliant at this, mining them for political value. It's a bit like all the WeChat apps and things that are going on here in Australia, the way Dan Andrews used the Chinese community here in the recent election. I think that's going to be, I think, a narrative in future election campaigns.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about what's happening in Iran. You've got American detainees, quote unquote hostage prisoners, released, and you've got $6 billion now on its way. You and I know that's what's going to happen, on its way back into the hands of Iranian control.
Peter, it's a wicked decision. It incentivises Iran to kidnap other Westerners. Thank heavens Australia joined 63 other nations just last days, in condemning Iran for closing down all the monitoring sites in Iran of the International Atomic Energy Agency over its nukes. So we've got Blinken and Biden handing over all this money, and at the very day the Iranians are closing down monitoring of their nuclear sites. It's wicked, it's stupid, and it's counterproductive, Peter.
But what happened to the line that we don't negotiate with terrorists?
$6 billion US, by the way, that's 10 billion. So for 6 American citizens who are stuck in Iran because they went there to see their families, it's $1 billion now to get them out. Is that the price next time?